Between 1861 and 1865, the United States fought the deadliest war in its history, a conflict so violent and destructive that it claimed more American lives than all other U.S. wars combined. Known as the American Civil War, this struggle was not only a military confrontation, but a test of the nation's identity, values, and future. Long before the first shots were fired, the country was already deeply divided. The industrial North and the agricultural South lived under the same flag, but followed very different paths. The North was rapidly modernizing, filled with factories, railroads, and growing cities. The South, however, relied heavily on farming, especially cotton, and depended on enslaved labor to sustain its economy. At the heart of this division was slavery. Millions of African Americans were held in bondage, denied freedom, rights, and dignity. As the nation expanded westward, a bitter debate emerged. Would new states allow slavery or ban it? For decades, political compromises delayed conflict, but the moral, economic, and political tension continued to grow. Eventually, the nation could no longer avoid the consequences. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States. Though he promised not to immediately abolish slavery where it already existed, many Southern leaders viewed his election as a direct threat to their way of life. To them, Lincoln represented a future where slavery would no longer be protected. Fear and anger spread across the Southern states. One by one, Southern states chose to secede from the Union. By early 1861, 11 states had withdrawn and formed a new nation and the Confederate States of America, with Jefferson Davis as its president. They claimed the right to govern themselves, while the North argued that secession was illegal and threatened the survival of the nation. The breaking point came on April 12, 1861, when Confederate cannons opened fire on Fort Sumter, a U.S. military fort in South Carolina. After a brief bombardment, the fort surrendered. The American Civil War had officially begun. At first, many believed the war would be short. That illusion was shattered at the First Battle of Bull Run in July 1861. Inexperienced soldiers clashed in chaos and confusion, and both sides realized the war would be far longer and far bloodier than expected. As the conflict intensified, battles grew larger and more deadly. On September 17, 1862, Union and Confederate forces met at Antietam in Maryland. In a single day, more than 22,000 soldiers were killed, wounded, or missing, making it the bloodiest day in American history. Antietam became a turning point. Soon after, President Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, declaring that enslaved people in Confederate-held territory would be freed. The war was no longer fought solely to preserve the Union. It was now a fight for human freedom. Following this declaration, nearly 200,000 African-American soldiers joined the Union Army and Navy. Despite facing discrimination and unequal treatment, they fought bravely for victory and for their own liberation. In July 1863, the war reached another critical moment at the Battle of Gettysburg. Confederate General Robert E. Lee launched a massive invasion of the North, hoping to force a Southern victory. After 3 days of brutal combat, Union forces prevailed. Gettysburg marked the most decisive turning point of the war. At nearly the same time, Union forces captured the Confederate stronghold of Vicksburg, Mississippi. This victory gave the Union full control of the Mississippi River and split the Confederacy in two, weakening its ability to fight. As the war dragged on, new Union generals emerged: Ulysses S. Grant and William Tecumseh Sherman believed the war could only be won through relentless pressure. They abandoned cautious tactics and launched total warfare aimed at destroying the South's ability to continue fighting. Sherman's march to the sea cut a destructive path through Georgia, tearing up railroads, burning supplies, and crushing morale. Though controversial, it demonstrated that the Confederacy could no longer protect its land or its people. By 1865, the Confederacy was exhausted. Cities lay in ruins, armies were starving, and hope was fading. An estimated 620,000 Americans had died. Families were destroyed. Towns were emptied. The nation was forever changed. On April 9, 1865, Confederate General Robert E. Lee surrendered to General Grant at Appomattox Court House in Virginia. The Civil War was effectively over. Just days later, President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, leaving the nation victorious, yet deeply wounded. Later that year, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution was ratified, abolishing slavery forever. The war's greatest promise had been fulfilled. The Civil War reshaped America. Federal power was strengthened, slavery ended, but the struggle for equality had only begun. Its legacy still echoes today, a reminder of the cost of division and the price of unity.